What's going on, everyone? This is Thrifty back with Thrifty PS Gamer Reviews. So, you hear all this stuff about Stellar Blade, the demo just dropped. What is it that you need to know? Let's try to cut through all of the noise and let's get to the game itself, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all gamers, and that's what we're here for. And if you being a gamer is what brought you to this channel, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We're on our way, super close to 500 subs. Really appreciate it if you could sub to this. It'd be awesome. Thank you so much. With that, let's dive in. So, what are the things that I look at in a demo, right? I'm super stingy with my money. If you've been on this channel at all, you've heard me say that I only buy 3 full-priced $70 games a year. I've already bought one with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Stellar Blade is actually the second one that I have decided to purchase. So I have 8 more months after Stellar Blade releases for one game. Now, why is that? So let's get into a little bit of the game, okay? So we'll first talk about the different kinds of performance modes that there are. And you have a graphics mode, that is 30 frames per second. You have a performance mode that's 60, and then you have a balanced mode that uses the VRR and splits the difference. You get some of the graphical features, and you get a really consistent and smooth frame rate thanks to VRR and the implementation of that. And so I'm actually playing it on the balance setting, and I absolutely love it. So real quick, out the gate, we PlayStation gamers are very, very picky about our performance in games. And I will tell you this, the game runs solid. Okay? The game is very smooth and very, very fluid. And so, performance, there's your modes. That's what you need to know about that. But what good is that performance if they don't put it to good use? And so that's going to bring me to combat. Combat. First thing I want you to understand is this is not a Souls-like game. It does have a parry mechanic in it, and it does have a dodge mechanic. That alone does not make it a Souls game. It's more like a Jedi Fallen Order. And so with that, you do have to understand their attack patterns of the enemies, and you do have to kind of pay attention, and you are going to die a little bit, but it's nothing overbearing. I would honestly put the combat somewhere in the neighborhood of Jedi Fallen Order, God of War Ragnarok, stuff like that. It's not terribly, terribly difficult, but you are going to die. There's going to be fights that you encounter, bosses that you encounter that will cause a death. Outside of kind of what you're hearing where folks are like comparing it, oh, it's a Souls Light, it's really not. But it does have parry, as I mentioned earlier. It does have dodge. It does have special moves. It does have a stagger mechanic, and it does have finishing moves. Outside of those things, which are in almost every single action adventure game ever, it has nothing to do with being a Souls-like. The other thing I'm going to say is the combat, the other thing that makes it not a Souls-like, is that it's very fast and very fluid. My biggest complaint on Souls-like games, other than that only narcissists should play them, is that, not narcissists, sorry, masochists, wrong word, that masochists are the ones who play them, is that it's so slow. The combat, it doesn't feel fluid. It feels clunky. This doesn't have that. It is super fast. And we have a Discord for the channel, and in the Discord, 2 of the guys in there compared the fighting in this to a dance. And I thought that was perfect. It actually helped me on the last boss, which if you watch the video, you'll actually see me fighting the last boss of the demo. The first time I fought the boss, I died. I wanted to lower the difficulty from normal to story, and instead, that makes you restart the game when you do that. And I was like, man, I don't want to restart the game, go through the fighting I had to do to get to the boss, so I just did it again. And if you'll notice, the second time, I'm taking my time. I'm understanding the movements better, and I'm treating it like that dance. So that's kind of the combat in a nutshell. It's this big, fluid, fast, amazing set where you literally are engaged in it the entire time. It's not like a Souls game where you have to wait every single time for them to do something. In this, you can move around, you can find different angles, you can get a couple shots in, they try to hit you, you can parry real quick, or you can do a dodge or a perfect dodge, and then go right back in. That fills up your special meters. Once you get that filled up, or once you parry enough, it actually staggers them, which then you can do a finisher on. It's really involved, and I love that about it. I love the combat of it. And for those of y'all who are going to be in the comments and go, Jedi Fallen Order was a Souls-like, and I will tell you, I had no idea that that was a thought about the game until about a year ago when Jedi Survivor's hype was building up. I had no idea that it was a Souls-like because I hate Souls games. And someone was like, "Nah, man, that's considered a Souls-like." And I was like, "No, there's no way because I can beat it on normal difficulty. It's not a Souls game." But that's enough about combat. Moving on, what is the other thing that we care about as gamers? We care about graphics. And so the way I describe the graphics are they're realistic with obvious stylized animation. Think of a God of War or a Spider-Man. The features are defined, the facial structures are defined. When they speak, everything syncs up just as it should. But it's not Last of Us realistic. It's not and it's not meant to be. It's very stylized, and you can tell it's animated, but it has a realistic animated look. If any of y'all know what I mean by that, comment down below. But like, that's the best that I can do to describe the graphics. And then a subset of the graphics is the lighting. One of the first things I noticed about the game was the lighting. The way the explosions work, the way they come off of, the way that like street lights reflect off of cars. The lighting is so freaking well done in this game. I would honestly put it on the level of a Cyberpunk, and the burst effects in it are fantastic. It's one of those that one of the companies I really like playing their games of is Square Enix, and it's because in almost every current gen game that they do, the burst effects are solid. And so I love burst effects. I love what they add to the screen, the color pop that they add, just the feeling of like, wow, that was really cool. Or burst effects add a lot to a game, and they add a lot to elemental attacks as well, because not only are you seeing the lightning bolt, but you're seeing particles come off of it, and then combine that with the rest of the lighting, it literally lights up the whole screen and reflects off of everything. So I really, really enjoyed the lighting, and the graphics for this game look fantastic. What about difficulty modes? Maybe you've heard that this game is a Souls-like, and don't listen to the gamers who say it's not. What about difficulty modes? Well, there is a normal difficulty, which I played the demo on, and I made it through. And then there is a story difficulty. I never tried the story difficulty because normal I was able to make it through. Sure, I'd get into a little mini boss or whatever and I'd die. I'd go back, I'd die again. Then I figured out the attack patterns after a couple deaths, and it was no big deal. Which really is like any good game should be. Like, I don't know if y'all are older gamers like myself, but that was my childhood. You would get Bad Dudes or get Contra, you would make it past the first level pretty easy, and then every level after that was a try and try and try again until you learned all the places where the enemies popped up, all the different types of guns they used, when you learned what the boss was going to do to you, when you learned the boss's attack patterns, and oh, when this blue ball charges up, we're about to get hit with something. It's the same thing, and so it brings back some of those fundamental core things that gamers have enjoyed for years. And so that's my quick little what I thought about Stellar Blade demo and what I think you need to know as the gamer. Thank y'all for everybody who stopped by. The game releases on April 26th. I am super excited. And you'll notice in this video I didn't talk about certain things because I don't care about that. That's not. She could be the most drop dead gorgeous character I've ever seen in a video game, and if the game doesn't hit these other points, I don't care. I play games for the story, for the elements of the game. Having characters that look good while playing with them, male, female, what have you, that's just added flavor text to the game. And so I hope that if you're on the fence about Stellar Blade, or if you've just tried to avoid it because of all the other crap, I hope this video helps you just kind of pinpoint in if the game is for you. So guys, with that, once again, I truly appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment if you haven't already, and as always, stay thrifty.